My name is Kenji, and I have always been a quiet kid. I grew up in a small town in Gifu Prefecture, Japan. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and nothing ever changed. The streets were narrow, lined with old concrete walls and telephone poles that buzzed in the summer heat. But in the winter, the fog would roll down from the mountains. It turned my town into a maze of gray shadows. I was 12 years old when the rumors started. At school, nobody paid attention to the teachers anymore. During lunch, we huddled in circles, whispering. The other boys talked about a woman. They said she wore a long beige trench coat. They said she had long black hair that hung down straight over her face. And the scariest part? She always wore a white surgical mask. In Japan, seeing someone wear a mask isn't strange. People wear them when they have a cold or hay fever. It's polite. But the boys said this was different. They said if you looked closely, you could see red stains seeping through the white fabric. They called her Kuchisake onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman. I tried not to listen. My parents worked late at the factory on the other side of the city. That meant I had to walk home alone every evening. The sun went down early in November, and by the time I left the school gates, the sky was already a bruised purple. I remember the specific date. It was a Tuesday. I had stayed late to finish a drawing in the art room. I loved drawing. It was the only time I didn't feel lonely. When I finally packed my bag, the school was silent. The hallways were dark. I walked out of the gates and started my journey home. The air was freezing. I could see my breath puffing out in little white clouds. The street lights flickered on, casting sickly yellow pools of light on the pavement. I walked fast. I kept my head down, counting my steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was a game I played to keep my mind off the dark alleys I had to pass. Then I heard it. It wasn't a footstep. It was a sharp, metallic sound. Snip. I stopped. The sound came from behind me. I turned around, but the street was empty. Just the empty road and a vending machine humming in the distance. It's just the wind, I whispered to myself. My voice sounded small and weak. I started walking again. Faster this time. Snip, snip. The sound was closer. It sounded like huge shears cutting through thick fabric or bone. My heart began to hammer against my ribs. I knew I shouldn't look back. The rumors said that if you hear her, she is already there. But I couldn't help it. The fear was like a string pulling my head around. I looked back. Standing under the next streetlight was a woman. She looked exactly like the stories. She was tall and thin, drowning in a dirty beige trench coat. Her hair was black and stringy, looking wet even though it wasn't raining. It covered her forehead and cheeks. And the scariest part, she always wore a white surgical mask. In Japan, seeing someone wear a mask isn't strange. People wear them when they have a cold or hay fever. It's polite. But the boys said this was different. They said if you looked closely, you could see red stains seeping through the white fabric. I froze. My legs felt like they were made of heavy stone. I wanted to run, but my brain wouldn't send the signal to my feet. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She just walked. She took slow, deliberate steps toward me. Her eyes were wide, too wide. They were dark brown, almost black, and they were locked on to mine. There was no emotion in them, just a cold, dead stare. As she got closer, a smell hit me. It was awful. It smelled like rubbing alcohol mixed with old, rotting meat. It made my stomach turn. She stopped just a few feet away from me. She was so tall that she loomed over me, blocking out the light from the street lamp. I could hear her breathing. It was a wet, raspy sound, like her throat was full of liquid. She leaned down. Her face was inches from mine. I could see the pores in her skin. I could see the dirt under her fingernails. Then she spoke. Her voice was soft, almost gentle, which made it terrifying. "Watashi kirei?" she asked.
Am I beautiful?
I knew this question. Every kid in Japan knew this question. It was a trap. My mind raced. The rumor said if I said no, she would take out a pair of scissors and kill me right there. She would cut me in half. I swallowed hard. My throat was dry. I stammered, "Yes, you are beautiful." For a second, nothing happened. The wind blew through the telephone wires above us, making a low whistling sound. I thought maybe I was safe. Maybe she would let me go. Her eyes crinkled. She was smiling under the mask. "Even," she whispered, her hand moving up to her ear. "Even now?" She grabbed the straps of the mask and ripped it down. I screamed. I couldn't stop myself. Her mouth wasn't a mouth anymore. It was a gaping wound. It had been sliced open from ear to ear. The skin was ragged and red. I could see her teeth through the sides of her cheeks. They were yellow and bloody. Her tongue writhed around inside the giant opening like a dying snake. It was impossible. A human being couldn't live like that.
"Am I beautiful now?" she shrieked. This time, her voice wasn't soft. It was a high-pitched screech that hurt my ears. She reached into her coat pocket. Metal flashed in the yellow light. She pulled out a pair of scissors. They were huge, rusty gardening shears, the blades as long as my forearm. Snip, snip. She snapped them open and closed. I remembered the rules. If I said no now, I died. If I said yes, she would carve my face to look just like hers so we'd match. I turned and ran. I didn't care about my school bag. I let it drop to the ground. I pumped my arms, sprinting as hard as I could toward the main road. I needed people. I needed cars. I needed anywhere that wasn't here. I heard her behind me. She wasn't running. It sounded like she was gliding. But every time I looked at my shadow stretching out in front of me, I saw hers right on top of it. Snip, snip. She was gaining on me. I turned a corner sharp, my sneakers squeaking on the pavement. I ran into a narrow alleyway between two houses. It was a shortcut I sometimes took. It was dark, full of trash bags and old bikes. I knocked over a stack of empty crates to block her path. I heard them crash, but the sound of the scissors didn't stop. It was rhythmic, hypnotic. My chest burned. I was gasping for air. I reached the end of the alleyway and burst out onto the street, near the park. I tripped. My foot caught on a curb and I went sprawling onto the asphalt. I skinned my palms and knees. The pain was sharp, but the fear was worse. I scrambled to turn over, crab walking backward on my hands and feet. She was there, standing at the mouth of the alleyway. She wasn't out of breath. She looked perfectly calm. She tapped the scissors against her leg. Tap, tap, tap. "Why do you run?" she asked. The split in her face moved unnaturally when she spoke. "Don't you want to be beautiful?" I knew something else from the rumors, a way to confuse her. I reached into my pocket. My fingers brushed against something wrapped in plastic. It was a piece of hard candy, the ko'ame. My grandmother gave it to me that morning. The rumors said she loved sweets. Or maybe she hated them. Nobody was sure, but it was a distraction. With a shaking hand, I pulled out the golden candy. "Here!" I yelled. I threw it at her. The candy hit her chest and fell to the ground with a small clack. She stopped, her head tilted to the side like a bird. She looked at the candy shining on the dark pavement. For a moment, the bloodlust in her eyes faded. She looked confused. I didn't wait to see if she picked it up. I scrambled up the chain-link fence. The metal dug into my fingers. I vaulted over the top, tearing my pants, and landed in the soft dirt of the playground. I ran through the park, past the swings that creaked in the wind, and didn't stop until I reached the police box on the main road. I burst through the door, crying and shaking. The officer on duty looked up, startled. I tried to explain. I told him about the coat, the mask, the scissors. He listened, but I could tell he didn't believe me. He thought it was a prank. He thought I was just a scared kid who saw a weird stranger. He called my parents, and they came to pick me up. They were angry that I lost my school bag. They told me to stop making up stories. But the next day, police found my bag. It was lying in the middle of the alleyway where I had dropped the crates. The bag was shredded. It looked like someone had taken giant shears and cut it into ribbons. The textbooks inside were sliced clean through. That was 20 years ago. I moved away from that town as soon as I finished high school. I live in Tokyo now. The crowds make me feel safe. There are too many people here for anything to get me. But sometimes, when I'm walking home late from work, the street gets quiet. The crowd thins out. The air gets cold. And sometimes I see a woman in a trench coat standing on the corner. Since the pandemic, everyone wears masks now. Every single person. It's normal. It's safe, but I still watch them. I watch their eyes. Yesterday, I was on the subway. It was late, and the car was mostly empty. A woman sat across from me. She had long black hair and a beige coat. She was wearing a white mask. She was looking at her phone, but then she looked up. Her eyes locked onto mine. Dark, cold, dead. She didn't speak. She just stared. Then she slowly reached up and touched the edge of her mask. The train screeched to a halt at my station. The doors opened and I ran. I ran until my lungs burned. I didn't look back. I don't walk alone at night anymore. I keep hard candy in my pockets every single day. Because the scariest thing about the Slit-Mouthed Woman isn't that she is a ghost or a demon. The scariest thing is that she looks like everyone else until she asks you that question.